going to be the block from Nikki and Lou. The Canadians can keep getting past that, around that, then they will get quite a few points inside out.
Oh, and the jump serve is spot on. So Camille Saxton, that's better. That'll give her a bit of confidence to get that nice, clean swing away. Nikki Laird kind of let it go, I feel, down the line. I think she might have thought it was going to miss, but it was a perfect serve. So Saxton again. Canada hit the lead again. She goes back towards Nikki. Oh, and back-to-back aces, but this time with the sniveler that hits the net. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, we don't really like those balls much as players because there's nothing you can do about that. Sometimes the setter can run in and try and get their hand underneath it, but tough ball. So they're going after Nikki on the left side.
Oh, and they're getting an overpass from Lou Borden on this occasion. So a nice run of points. That's a couple in a row, indeed 4 in a row. So they were down 4-5. And some tough serving from Camille Saxton. You'll see the overpass. Lou had to run a fair distance and she's put it up on the net, and all of a sudden that's fair game for the Canadian athletes. So Canada on a good streak at the moment. Nikki goes hard down the line. Julie Gordon can't control it. So that's what they needed to do. So 6-8. First set here at Manly Beach, the World Tour of Beach Volleyball, our first semi-final, Canada, Australia.
The Canadians now having a bit of a chat about what they're going to do strategically. It's really important for both players to stay on the same page together, know what they're going to do to attack the ball, but also to defend the ball. Lou Borden going with a jump serve, but driving that down into the net. So far the Australians not looking that comfortable. They need to get a few big blocks, as I said before, a few swings to really start to get into their groove. The Canadians have gone off to a really great start.
That's a good swing by Nikki. Nice ball control, so that was better. The crowd sort of sitting back a bit. Nikki Laird, obviously from this part of the world, Kerry. You know, does she hear them? Does she kind of hear her family and friends, or do you absolutely zone everything out?
Look, I think right now you hear the noise, but hopefully, you know, the players are really, really focused. So they hear their partner, they hear what's going on the other side. You know, you've got to feel what's going on even. Great block by Nikki there, decides to drop off the net, and that one went through the middle. So that was a great play by Canada. When the blocker peels off the net or drops back off the net, it's a really good hit to hit that ball down through the middle of the court. You'll see here, right through the middle deep, so hard to defend.
And the footwork's really important, isn't it, Kerry? When you're the tall athlete dropping off the net like that, you don't want to turn your body away from the court. You want to stay at least facing into the court, so you've got, you know, you're facing where you want the ball to go. Nikki couldn't get the ball up on that occasion. So Canada now back out to a 2-point lead. It will be Lou Borden, triple Olympian.
Aussies need to do a bit of damage with their serves here. I'm thinking they need to make it a little bit tougher for the Canadians. They're passing really well. They're getting up good attacks. Whereas right now the Canadians, I think they have the upper edge on their serving. They're really powering their serves, making it hard for the Aussies, and even harder because they haven't played together a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. They're still working on a few of their plays and a little bit of their, I guess, their kind of knowledge of where the opposite, you know, their partner is going to be on court a couple of times. We saw yesterday, you know, the serve that went right down the middle in between the two Aussie girls. They kind of got a little bit lost on that middle serve occasionally, so it's a bit of a sign. But this is a clever play from Nikki. She could tell that probably she'd overrun the spike approach, so just rolled it nicely down the line. So 9-11, Australia trailing Canada in the first set by 2 points. This is Camille Saxton going inside out at the last moment. I think she saw where Lou was in defence.
That's right. Louise moved really, really early to get that line play. You see, she's in the middle. She's moved and leaves so much of the court open. So, you know, that's something that Lou and Nikki having to learn as defensive players, that timing. You know, you have to kind of hold on to it a little bit longer, perhaps, just to give the setter the opportunity to make the call and then go.
We are in the technical timeout. First set, women's semi-final number 1. Canada 12 leading Australia 9.
And the crowd's coming out on a Sunday morning. It's still early here in Manly. There was a big night probably in Manly last night.
I'm sure Chris Burns from Victoria there, he is enjoying the volleyball. He's one of the volleyball faithful. It's such a knowledgeable and you know, the crowds around Australia have been really good, but Kerry, there's no volleyball crowd like your home beach, Manly. They know volleyball better than anyone.
Well, we have 8 permanent beach courts here at Manly Beach, so a lot of the people in the crowd are actually players of the sport. We have a lot of international players come through, just, you know, backpackers. They're here on a holiday and they know how to play volleyball, and, you know, they buy a ball in the local, you know, the local beach store, and they get down there and they play.
It is the heartland of our sport in Australia, no doubt about that. And Camille Saxton, that's not a replay from earlier. That is absolutely rock solid. The ace down the line. She's saying to Nikki Laird, I'm going to take that line on. You've left a little bit for me to aim at. And she's caught Nikki out on 2 occasions. So 13-9, well handled by Laird on this occasion. Julie Gordon reads it well, but that's good. When you were a defender, Kerry, if you've got a tall blocker, do you want to try and hide a little bit behind the blocker before you commit to go left or right? Or you know, when do you set up to try and get out of the spiker's gaze?
Well, John, I think there are all sorts of different strategies that the players can use. They can use that. That's one strategy. Another one could be, as a blocker, you show one thing and the defender shows the opposite. So the players think you're in a certain position, and then you both move late. So, you know, there's all sorts of strategies. I think it really depends on your strengths. It's always really nice to have a big blocker there. Louise got a great touch on that because Nikki is so big. So Nikki took out so much of the court. Louise was able to dig that little cut shot.
Absolutely. There it is again, the second ball. The Canadian team not ready or not prepared for a deep searching second ball play from Nikki Laird. So better from the Australians out of the technical timeout. They've got a couple back, so 11-13 now. This is Louise Borden. I guess she's still Louise Borden.
Just got married, hasn't officially changed that name with us yet. There's vintage, which is not quite old yet, but vintage Nikki Laird snapping it down to her left side over her shoulder. So good at doing that. That is definitely one of her strengths. Nice and high, and a great dig up by Louise Borden to put her in that position.
You can't coach 6'3", can you? You know, as you would know. All right, we're underway again. Australia closing the gap on some good plays. Lou Borden lays out pretty well, but the shot was slightly better. So, but a good little patch. Australia had let Canada get away a little bit, so they've dialed it back.
Yeah, a couple of tough serves from Lou really helped there, gave them the opportunity to make a defensive point. So, solid side out needed here. That's good touch by Lou. The set was close, or the pass was close for her to set, so she decided to go over on 2. So you can play the ball over on the first touch, the second touch, or traditionally we use the third touch, but the second touch is being used more and more these days by all teams, men and women.
Sure.
It makes it so much harder to defend.
Nicole Laird from Australia serving it up, trailing by 1, 13-14. It's going to be Lou Borden this time that peels back from the block, and she'll get a transition ball. Canada, though, gutsy, staying in the point. Nikki Laird gets the hands out. I like that. Oh, but Camille Saxton, I like that even more. Shutting it down. That is definitive.
She's been such a good blocker. She doesn't look like she's such a tall, big player, but she's really, really effective. She gets her hands, like you said, nicely over the net, round the ball, and just doesn't give much angle for that player to hit past.
She's got plenty of kill blocks over the last couple of weeks in Australia, that's for sure. You're looking at the gold medalists from the Shepparton FIVB World Tour event 2 weekends ago. Of course, that was both genders. We had men and women in Shepparton. This event this weekend in Manly Beach is the women only.
And we had men, Australians, in fact, winning the gold and the silver in Shepparton a couple of weeks ago, so that was good to see. We've got a volley fest here in Manly. We've got 10 days of beach volleyball. Not only do we have the World Tour, the FIVB World Tour, the women's event, which you're watching right now, but we also have a Four Nations Cup during the week for men, and then on the weekend we have our own Australian National Tour finals. So it's really great to have a massive festival of beach volleyball volleyball. Last night we had fireworks. We had 2 of Australia's up-and-coming singers who were on X Factor. I think around the world, a lot of people know they have their own versions of the X Factor. So we have had our X Factor finalists singing. It was just a wonderful evening.
Yeah, it was a brilliant night. Just to close off the point about Shepparton 2 weekends ago, we also do have the bronze medalist from Shepparton last 2 weeks ago, and Nikki Laird.
That's right.
She played with Phoebe Bell.
That's right. Nikki was playing with a different partner. And, you know, it's funny, it seems easy to just jump on and play with a different partner, but it is extremely difficult to, you know, work out what part of the court each other covers, you know, where to set each other, where those little setting errors like that might happen. So right now the Aussie girls are really setting that ball probably a little bit too tight for each other. They don't need that. They've got the height and the strength. So
yeah, absolutely. So 3 out of the 4 of the athletes on court made the semi-finals of the last FIVB World Tour event. Of course, Lou Borden was away getting ready for her wedding. And so, you know, for Nikki, as you say, a new partner, but you know, she knows how to get through to the business end of the tournament, which is great. That's a nice option. Lou Borden this time hitting the second ball before Camille Saxton. I think that's paying respect to the block of Saxton. They're saying maybe let's quicken up the attack a little bit before Camille can get there. So I think that's a compliment to the Canadian that they ran that play.
Oh, that's not a good ball from Louise there. So really showing, I don't know if it's nerves or just uncertainty right now from the Aussies. The Canadians looking very solid, very certain. The Aussies are a little bit out of sorts. But of course, we're best of 3 sets. So should the Canadians win this, which is possible, they're only 2 points ahead, but if they can keep this gap to 21, they'll win this set. We still need to win another set to win the match. So,
all right, it's going to be Nikki Laird this time to go back and serve. Australia trailing 15-17 over Canada. They need a good serve in. They need to get some block pressure. They need to find a way to close the gap, as my co-commentator Kerry Potter so rightly said. That won't be it. Julie Gordon, her cleanest hit of the match so far, I would say.
Absolutely. She can certainly jump out of the sand, Julie Gordon. I've been really impressed with her as a player. I love watching her spike. Just such an exciting, dynamic player. And, of course, she's in the backcourt. You see Camille. She served. She'll run to the net and block. So they're definitely a blocking defensive partnership right there. They have their own roles. So 1 point until we switch sides again. This time Louise Borden looking for a tough serve. Taken very easily by Camille Saxton.
Oh, it's taken. Oh, well. Gosh.
Sometimes those balls that sit on the net that you think, oh, this is a gift. You get so excited about it. I think Camille got so excited about it that she swung out on that point. It was a great dig by Louise to get it up, but then Louise was pretty happy.
We call that a sucker ball back in the day, Kerry. You've suckered them into making an error. She should have buried that, but it gives Australia back the ball, and 17-18, so they've closed the gap again. So let's see if that's a moment that perhaps Canada should have grasped. Can the Australians capitalise? Borden absolutely reads perfectly, comes back to the middle, the lines open up for her, but she can't find it. Oh, what a shame. They've done everything else really well to that point.
I think the set was off the net. Louise was really disappointed with herself, perhaps with the set as well. It was a beautiful dig. But a chance for Canada now. Just a couple of points away from this first set. Louise does what she does so well with a tight set. She will just flick it to the left or the right on 2. So that's what she's used to in her partnership with Taliqua Clancy. Both Taliqua and Louise
put that second ball. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. 18-19, so this is a really important point in the context of this first set. If Canada win this rally, they'll have a set point. If Australia can win this rally, then they're locked up again at 19. So big moment. Nikki Laird takes a deep breath. Can't find the court, and that is almost unforgivable. That's such an important time to put some pressure on, but instead Canada now have 2 set points, and for Camille Saxton, who's served so well from this spot on the beach, she's going to rip a jump serve.
Puts Aussies under a bit of pressure. Another chance for Nikki.
Saxton is on everything at the moment. And she's on that one as well. Why not? Camille Saxton, 21-18, gets Canada the first set. In the women's semi-final #1 here, you'll see the replay. Saxton got 1 block. Saxton got 2 blocks and then shut it down. So there you have it. the back of some good play from the Canadians. They have put the first set in the bag, 21-18, and they'll be very, very pleased with that.
Yeah, I think they definitely deserved that. No doubt that their blocking was superior to the two blockers of Laird and Borden, who, you know, normally for their team, they're getting a lot of blocks, but not happening so much for the Aussies, definitely happening for the Canadians.
Seeing some highlights here. There were some good moments. The Aussies, you know, they did amass 18 points. So 21-18 is a solid set of volleyball, but just some key moments. The blocking of Camille Saxton was great. The serving of Camille Saxton was great. And, of course, Julie Gordon supported her really well as the weather kind of comes and goes. But let's have a look at the first set in the bag. 3 aces for Canada. That leaps off the page, Kerry.
Yeah, absolutely. Only one block there for the Canadians. I think maybe our stats guy was, maybe he counted the last block in the rallies, but I think Camille had many more throughout each rally.
Yeah, and I think kill blocks is the stat that they put up there, but she certainly was effective and pushed a lot of balls back in her court. So I think if you look at that, they served 3 aces and they won the set by 3 points. You know, there's a correlation to service pressure and effectiveness, I believe. But anyway, we are ready to go in the second set. Canada in women's semi-final number 1 have won the first set. And for Nicole Laird and Louise Borden,
Nikki just going up to the referee and pointing the finger. I'm not sure what was going on there, but reminding the referee of something perhaps.
She is excellent at applying mental and physical pressure on court. There is Lou Borden getting the first point for the Australians. So, all right, they've had their first set. They can shake that off. The Aussies, they kind of started a bit slow in some of their match yesterday, I recall. They had to win a 3-setter, you know, against the row campers, the local girls here last night. And they came out, and I don't think they thought it would be easy against the row campers, but gosh, they were really having a battle, absolutely. So, yeah, you know, maybe that'll help them. They've played 3-setters already this weekend. 1 point all. This is women's semi-final number 1 on the World Tour of Beach Volleyball here at beautiful Manly Beach in New South Wales. And Saxton is at it again. This time the ball, it hits the net and drops in. That's cruel.
Loves that, doesn't she? She's had a few of those serves now. So she's serving the ball nice and flat with enough speed to make it go over if it hits the top of the net. So you can see again how flat that serve was. Nice high swing from Nikki. It's got to go off the block. It counts as a touch.
And then the overpass, that's such a shame. They worked so hard, and just that aspect, you know, a couple of aspects they'll probably look back on that first set. You talked about it, Kerry. I think they set the ball to each other a little too close to the net, and their service pressure wasn't great. And, you know, that's not a good sign. If they haven't dialed it back, that's just sitting up there. And there's absolutely nothing Lou Borden can do in that circumstance.
Yep, and that's what comes with not having played together, you know, very often. And even though they train together against each other in Adelaide, they haven't been on the court together as much. But, you know, still they're simple skills. You turn around, you have to put the ball up on the net, close to the net for your partner. They should be doing those well. So, again, at this point, it's really a mental game. And something, you know, something's not going right there. They're not feeling good, perhaps.
We just Kerry saw a shot of Nikki Laird's mum in the crowd. She was looking very concerned. So I'm sure she'll be chewing her fingernails.
Good to see the girls smiling.
The last major tournament that the girls played in front of their home crowd here in Manly was the Asian Championships last year, and Nikki was again in the final of that, but was beaten by a very good Chinese team. So I think Nikki's still looking for that big gold medal finish in front of her home crowd. So let's see if she can lift a little today. Well, that's maybe a helpful sign. The timeout the Aussies called maybe broke Camille Saxton's serve concentration a little bit. She went for that line ace but missed. So 2-3. The Aussies will take everything they can get at the moment. Haven't quite come together and played their best volleyball at this stage.
Yeah, that's better. That's Nikki Laird all over anything that's close to the net. Really aggressive blocking. See if the Aussies can take this point now so they can switch with 1 up. Just missing, so Canada switches with the advantage again.
And that's frustrating, Kerry, isn't it? They've played some good points. They've got some pressure back on the opposition, and I kind of feel like, you know, they almost throw it away by not not hitting the court with a serve. It's not as if they're going for the really hyper-aggressive serve either, so I'd rather see them be maybe more aggressive and miss rather than maybe that serve that doesn't really put any pressure on. So Julie Gordon, she's going straight at Nikki Laird. They've been not shy about identifying who they're going at, and there's Camille Saxton again at the net.
I'm not sure what it is about Camille. She's just, maybe the spikers just can't see her, but she does get up nice and high. She's got her elbows over the net, but she really reaches forward. So such a great technique, and perhaps very difficult for the spikers to actually see where she's setting up. But that was a better swing that time over the block, and that's what Nikki's able to do because of her height.
Yeah, Camille couldn't have got that one. It was a much higher, sweeter swing. You never like being blocked out, but if you are, you want to get the next serve, don't you?
Absolutely. Oh, lovely swing cross court. You saw both players were to her left and really using her peripheral vision to see that. So it's very difficult. The players sometimes having to look up at the ball, but having to feel what's going on the other side.
All right, so the Canadians are leading 6-4. Lou Borden hand sets the ball off the block. So again, Nikki's kind of just, you know, changed the radar a little bit. She's gone high over the block the last one, and this time high off hands. So, you know, I think she's paying the block a little bit more respect now.
Absolutely. It's just a reminder. I remember I used to almost say thank you to the blocker after they blocked me. It was a reminder to hit higher, harder and deeper the very next time.
Oh, well, they didn't remind Camille Saxton on that occasion. They peeled back off her the last 2 times and really haven't been effective at all. She's found clean sand. So do you break earlier or do you stay and commit to the block? I guess that's the question.
Well, I think right now Camille's having an amazing game. She's serving aces, she's blocking, she's siding out. Julie's not having to do a lot. I mean, obviously she's setting and playing defense, but Camille's been making a lot of those points. Obviously then Julie's like, I want to serve an ace too. But you know, in the past we've watched this weekend, Julie's been receiving almost every ball, so it's good to see Camille coming into her side-out game as well now.
This is Julie Gordon serving for Canada, so Lou Borden this time well read. Camille's on everything right now. Borden shows her respect, a nice drop shot. Good experience shown there by Lou. Yes, she kind of got soft blocked by Camille, but kept her composure, said, all right, give it back. I'll have a little peek of the defense, and I'm just going to play a really, really smart shot over the block. So I think it's probably a good time maybe for the senior statesman in Lou Borden to maybe stand up and maybe start, you know, winning some of those points, or maybe just steadying the ship a little bit. Let's see what the left-hander can do from the service line. But again, Camille's just untouchable at the moment.
Yeah, amazing. She's just passing so solidly. You can see they're very focused, the Canadians. They're very calm. They're enjoying their volleyball. They're not over-exaggerating their enthusiasm after each point. Just really positive.
Well, that's a good deep swing. I'm wondering, Kerry, as the Australian team, you start kind of acknowledging the hot streak that Camille Saxton is on, and say, you know what, let's start hitting Julie Gordon with the serve, because it ain't working at the moment.
Exactly, and that's possibly helping Camille's serving, being served and having to hit the ball in a spike and then go back and hit a jump serve. It actually gets you in rhythm. And I remember when I was being served, it made my serving better because I was spiking a winner, then going back and hitting a jump serve. But then...
There you go, shows what I know, the volleyball expert that I am. I said serve the other girl, they serve Camille, and she shanks it for a point. So there you go, it's a weird old game.
Look, you never know what's going to happen. A slight... moment of not being focused for Camille, but I'm sure she'll be right back in it.
Well, they hit her again, and I think they're probably going to get a better response from her this time. Yeah, and they do a nice little knuckleball, but okay, well, they rolled the dice. They went back at us at 10-8. Clearly, that's the service plan.
Absolutely, and right now, I must say, both teams have lifted their game. A lot better volleyball. In the first set, we saw there were a total of 11 unforced errors. You know, hit outs, serve outs, but right now, both teams are winning with good things like that. Nikki Laird's hitting high and deep, so she's taken that advice, higher, harder, deeper.
Yeah, we haven't seen Lou Borden have to serve, receive much, or Julie Gordon. So the two shorter athletes, you would think, you know, it's counterintuitive, folks. If you're watching the coverage, you're like, well, you've got the two taller ladies that are doing all the spiking, but it's about everything that happens before the spike, isn't it, that goes into that thought process, Kerry?
Absolutely. Here's one to Julie, though. Again, they're not listening to you, John. And she hasn't hit a ball for a while, and there you go, she makes an error. So that was a really good change. Oh, touch on the block.
Oh, there
touch
you go,
on the block. So but she knows, and they know that Julie just made an error, and that's the mindset games. You know, you've got to be on that. So they made the change up.
Almost paid dividends. That serve's going to be way too big. So we're going to go to the technical timeout, folks. The two teams take a break when there's 21 points on the board. So for Lou and Nikki, they're there or thereabouts, but it's just a case of, you know, they just can't get on a streak. So we're going to see some of the highlights again. Well, Camille Saxton has been the story of this first set and this second set so far for mine. See some of the highlights here. Nikki Laird getting served. The setting's been good, but there's Camille just dominating above the net.
Yeah, early on in the first set, she got some great blocks. Towards the end, Nikki was hitting much higher, and that was getting them some great side outs. So both teams have dialed it up here, and really it's still anybody's match. So if the Aussies can win this set, that'll take it to 1 set all, and then it's a deciding set just to 15 points. And that set doesn't last, you know, rarely lasts longer than 10 minutes. So all that work just for 10 minutes. We'll see who comes out of this timeout. Will it be Australia? Will it be Canada? With the focus, the limit of the unforced errors. That's what I'd like to see. I think the team with the least unforced errors now, because they're both starting to creep in. The Aussies seeming to have cleaned that up a bit. The Canadians just made a couple. So let's see who will come out of this timeout.
Nikki Laird back to the service line for Australia. She's going to stay and block Gordon, but Gordon crushes it down. So, you know, that's okay. That was a good serve reception and a good swing. They haven't really found a way to dominate above the net yet. We haven't seen any kill blocks for Australia. Nikki's, you know, one of her big weapons is her blocking. So I kind of get the sense if she can get a couple of kill blocks, that kind of starts up a lot of other aspects of her game, as you said, Kerry. So good intelligent drop shot, though.
Good play from Nikki there.
I kind of feel like both teams are just sort of going through the motions until they get towards the end of the set and someone's going to leap out of the ground. Do you take a risk at this stage, Kerry, or do you just keep, you know, steady?
I think you really need to put your foot down on the accelerator at this point. You need to rev up the cheering. You need to fasten up the serve, like go for your serves, take a risk, but maybe risk towards the middle of the court rather than to the lines. Go high, hard.
At the moment, Canada 13-11. This is like the first set all over again. We kept going deep into the first set, and then 21-19 or 21-18 it was over. So there it is. Oh, but again, the block for Nikki that we've been looking for, but the net touch absolutely cruels it. So, you know, these little errors, unfortunately, are absolutely sucking all of the life out of their volleyball at the moment.
Yeah, it's really hard to get momentum when you're doing errors that are either non-volleyball errors like a net touch, but hitting out, things like that. So,
and
or
again,
an overset.
Camille, yeah, it's just really Canada playing so solid, not making many errors, and for the Aussie girls, they kind of looking for a way to break this Canadian defense down has been tremendous. See how hard Camille is breathing. So she's working really hard, Kerry.
Absolutely. Look, well, they know that the Australians have made a couple of errors, but they also, I'm sure they also feel that they have to keep solid, because very quickly it can turn around. A couple of good plays by the Aussies, a couple of blocks and defensive plays, and they're back in the game.
Julie Gordon on the defense. She's going to get a swing and the skill error. Nikki's kind of neither forward nor back. So this is really, really troubling signs now from an Australian point of view, that Camille Saxton and Julie Gordon, full of confidence from their gold medal at Shepparton 2 weekends ago, and 1 set to love up and 16-11 in the second. They're going to take some beating at this point. They look absolutely rock solid. It's going to be Nikki Laird again.
That's a much better set from Louise Borden. Gives Nikki a lot of room on the net. Has a full court open for her to swing into. So the Aussies really need to find something here. I just really feel that they need to put in some big serves, put the Canadians under pressure to have a chance here and get some points back.
All right, 12-16. I think the time is now for the Australian campaign. They're going to have to do something pretty soon to close this gap. Canada under a little bit of pressure with the serve. Gordon will have a look at a block of Nikki Laird and beats her again. So, you know, Nikki's just not able to dominate in that area that she can dominate in, and that's a big string in their bow that they're not getting anything out of. So 17-12, Canada looking very, very comfortable at this stage. And they just cannot do a thing right at the moment. Australia are just breaking down in all of their skill areas. What a shame. Canada just dogged and determined, just keeping the ball in play.
They certainly are. You know, almost doesn't look like they're doing anything particularly special. I mean, they are. Their touch on the ball right now is a lot more polished than the Australians, absolutely. And they're not giving up. They're keeping the ball off the ground, and they're just, you know, they're putting it up in a playable position. Simple as that. I mean, it is simple volleyball, really.
Nikki Laird cleans the sunglasses. Let's see if she has a clearer vision of how to receive this Canadian onslaught that she's been receiving. She's going to hit this ball off the block, so that's okay. 13-18. But a point must be made, Kerry, that Canada are only 3 good rallies away from a spot in the gold medal match. So Australia have to walk a very fine line between aggression and control to try and wrest a bit of scoreboard pressure back. That's going to be perfect down the line. And again, no error.
Yeah, Julie Gordon, she's got such a hard swing cross court, and she's got a beautiful line shot. Really hard as a defender to read. And she had it there, even though she's barely seen a serve this entire match. This woman serving now, Camille Saxton's been doing a load of the hitting and serving.
Lou Borden, good composure. So 14-19. The time is absolutely now, Kerry. There is no more time available to the Australian combination. Our number 1 seeds, Lou Borden and Nikki Laird, they have to get on a hot streak, and they have to get on a hot streak now because Canada have already got 1 foot in the gold medal match. A block here or a pickup is required. They can't do it. Gordon is absolutely in control of every facet of her game. So for Australian fans, it doesn't make good reading. 20 points to 14, 1 set to love. Saxton and Gordon from Canada have a heap of match points for a spot in the gold medal match.
Oh, big chance there for Julie Gordon. She was going for the pokey in the corner, but just couldn't control a really hard ball to control in that corner. Anywhere else, the Aussies would have been on it. So still a chance for Louise and Nikki.
It's going to be one of the comebacks for the ages if they can get it done. 15-20 now the score. Australia changing up to the other end of the beach, but it is still 5 match points, so they are on death row now, the Australians. They can't put a foot wrong. Any error and Canada win the match from this point. They hit Saxton. Nikki Laird salutes with a good touch on the block, but it's going to have to come over Saxton again. She'll reset, recalibrate, but an overpass. Well,
there we go. So the Aussies are still in this game.
2 match points saved.
Working hard at the net. Nikki Laird needs to do that again, keep the pressure on.
The first sign of a skill error from Canada, the overpass, and Nikki was there and patient, and so Canada now cleaning their sunglasses. So match point number 3, though. Australia still have to somehow find a way to stay in this match, but they cannot get it done, and this wonderful Canadian team of Julie Gordon and Camille Saxton deserved 2 sets to love winners in women's semi-final number 1. So they will go through to the gold medal match, and for the Aussie girls of Lou Borden and Nikki Laird, it is the bronze medal match for them.
Yeah, what a shame for the Aussies. It would have been great to see an Aussie-Aussie matchup. We've got another semi-final coming up. Another Aussie team in there. We still have a chance to get them in the finals. But of course, the Canadians, they've been incredible. Yesterday, they played a Japanese team, and they were almost out of the tournament. They won 18-16 in the 3rd set.
Absolutely. They were down 14-11. There was 3 match points on the board for the Japanese team. And this Canadian girls, well, unbelievable play. And so they've been absolutely spectacular.
So today, I think it's this lady right here that was in the screen. Here she is, serving it up. Camille Saxton. It was most definitely her day today. I would say yesterday was Julie Gordon's day. She did a lot of work siding out. But today it was all about Camille, jump serving, siding out and blocking for points. Just too good for the Aussies.
And I wonder when the Australians look at the tape of this, will they kind of maybe acknowledge that, you know, maybe they've got a height domination over a lot of teams, but someone like Camille Saxton herself is about 6'3", and you do need to come off the net a little bit more, and they kind of put a lot of balls in an area for her to block really effectively. So, you know, there it is. The match is done and won, semi-final number 1. And here are the stats. Borden and Laird have lost 2 sets to love. Kerry, what do you make of those statistics?
Obviously, we see there's a few more blocks there, but the errors very high, and you know, that's what killed the Aussies. We don't often count the errors of those oversets, so they are most definitely what, like you said, I think that was the big problem for Borden and Laird in their side out. The set was too close. The blocking was just too dominant from Canada. Some more aces there, very difficult for the Australians. They did put the Canadians under any serve pressure. The Canadians passing, it almost looked like it was an easy free ball at times. They make it look like that because they're good passers, but our girls really needed to rip some aces.
Didn't really get going. I don't feel like they kind of got into their groove today, the Australians. Whether they didn't get into their groove because they weren't mentally or physically there, or was it the Canadians that just didn't allow them to get there? All credit absolutely goes to Julie Gordon and Camille Saxton. They will go through to the gold medal match later today here at beautiful Manly Beach. Highlight-filled afternoon we've got ahead of us, but for now we're going to say farewell from this beautiful stretch of shoreline. We'll be back later with women's semi-final number 2, but for now I've been Jonathan Fogarty, privileged to have Kerry Podas with me here at Manly Beach, and we'll see you next time on the FIVB World Tour of Beach Volleyball.